Good day, brothers and sisters in Christ. I welcome you to our Sunday reflection for the Solemnity of Christ the King, Year C. The theme of our reflection is clarifying our values. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Luke chapter 23, verse 42. The greatest obstacle to reaching our full potential is a lack of a clear sense of identity, which causes us to forget who we are and what we need. An incident in the life of the renowned German philosopher Friedrich Schleiermacher, who significantly influenced modern thought, illustrates this fact. One day, as an elderly man, he was sitting alone on a bench in a city park. A policeman, mistaking him for a vagrant, approached, shook him, and asked, "Who are you?" Schleiermacher replied sadly, "I wish I knew." Like Schleiermacher, we often forget who we are because we are going through an identity crisis. Jesus never faced an identity crisis. He was always aware of who he was and his needs. To develop our identity, we need a clear set of values and a constant awareness of what is important to us. When we reflect on the kingship of David and Jesus, we see that they are fundamentally different. David was unanimously declared king by his people, who recognized his human strength and divine calling. They emptied their power and gave it to David. He was meant to deliver them from their enemies. Jesus became king through his passion and death, his self-emptying, by which he freed us from the power of sin and death. However, there are similarities. Both David and Jesus faced challenges in achieving their kingship. After Samuel anointed him king, David spent 15 years fleeing from Saul and living like a fugitive. Jesus faced temptations throughout his life. The gospel recounts the threefold temptations he faced on the cross, just as he did in the desert. They both encountered obstacles, but they were not discouraged from pursuing their kingship. Another common trait in both David and Jesus was their deep sense of mission. They were faithful, living in constant dialogue and obedience to God, prioritizing his will and glory above their comfort and ambition, despite David's deviations. Prayer and reflection helped David and Jesus overcome obstacles and focus on doing God's will. David's reflections are recorded in the Psalms, and Jesus often withdrew from the crowds after moments of achievements to remember who he was in relation to God. We see these incidences in Mark chapter 1 verse 35 and John chapter 6 verse 15. Living in a world with values different from theirs, they needed to clarify their values periodically to ensure they aligned with God's will. Today we publicly declare that Jesus is King. However, mere declaration is not enough. We must demonstrate him as King to the world. That is impossible if we are unsure of the values that guide us. Recognizing the significance of living guided by our values, Simon et al. Highlight the challenges of diversity in our world that offers conflicting values. And I quote, "But consider the situation today. Parents offer one set of shoulds and should nots. The church often suggests another. The peer group offers a third group of values. Hollywood and the popular magazine a fourth. The seventh grade teacher a fifth. The college professor a sixth. The president of the United States a seventh. The next president an eighth. The spokesperson of the counterculture group a ninth, and on and on." End of quote. Living in a society that lacks clear and shared values, we are left to our own devices. The Feast of Christ the King, celebrated at the end of the year, encourages us to clarify our values, live in accordance with God's will, and demonstrate Jesus to the world. In this way, when someone asks about your identity, you can confidently say, I am a Christian. This often involves suffering and isolation, as our values differ from those of the world. So this week, I invite you to do the following. Number 1, I presume you all have a crucifix in your home. Hold a crucifix in your hand and meditate on it for 20 minutes. If you do not have a physical one, you can use a picture. Read Psalm 22 while reflecting on the crucifix. Number 2, stay for 5 minutes after Mass to continue praying and worshiping. Use the time to prepare your heart for Advent and celebrate the end of the liturgical year. After that, you can go out and socialize. Have a blessed week.